As rural Americans, we have a unique understanding of and connection to the land. Whether we ranch, farm, log, or simply recreate, what we do today determines our tomorrow. As stewards of the land, it's our duty to ensure that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the outdoors in a similar manner that was afforded us. Join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. Visit rmef.org today.
Well, welcome to episode number 52 of our podcast, According to Flint. And thanks, as always, to our friends at Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for all of their support of all things According to Flint. And this episode, I bring you the 2009 PBR World Champion, Kody Lostroh. He was Mr. Consistency when he was riding, and now giving his knowledge and expertise as one of the coaches of the Oklahoma Freedom, one of the PBR teams. I've always thought he is a forgotten champion in the list of all-time greats. He wasn't flashy, did nothing fancy. He just rode bulls and a really good friend. So please welcome World Champion Kody Lostroh after this message from our friends at Pendleton Whiskey. Well, welcome to episode number 52, According to Flint, and staying with a little bit of PBR theme in a sense. Maybe our theme is old, worn out, retired bull riders. I don't know.
Hey, well, you got the right guy.
I got the right guy. 2009 PBR World Champion, one of the coaches of the Oklahoma team in the PBR team series. Kalo himself, Kody Lostroh. You know, you used to hate that when I called you Kalo.
I know, and it won't die, so I've just accepted it now.
It was during that whole era of couples, and then J-Lo was big and Kalo, and it was also Lostro.
Yeah, I think Lostro was the original, and then was it you? Somebody got Kalo put on the program for an event. You know, all the bull riders would go get the program to see when we were up, and I thought it was you had got them to put Kalo on there.
No, but I wish it would have been me. But you know, as we're talking about this, the point was we were around each other a lot because we were both Team Enterprise.
Yeah,
and
Team Enterprise was the thing back in the day.
I think when it came, I was thinking about this the other day. With this team series, there's a real thing of unity. I see some of the teams, I think they go take a crap together. Honestly, I'm not sure. But I think the original was our friend Steve Smith from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. He tried all those years ago, now it's almost 20 years ago, to have a team atmosphere, didn't he? He wanted that unity. He was ahead of the time on that.
Yeah. Steve kind of pioneered all that, really, as far as making sponsorship dollars worth a lot more and bringing that team unity. Because, I mean, you remember if somebody won, the whole team won, and you were definitely cheering for more than just yourself.
Well, also remember, he wanted everybody dressed the same, and you guys kind of stood up and said, the Shaps, we want our own color. So he let you do different color Shaps, but they all had the same logo. Everybody wore white
Yep.
shirts. I had the Enterprise uniform in the arena. Michael Gaffney was kind of was retired, but he was in. But remember we'd go to have big lunches. We'd have at World Finals. They gave us hats every year. We went and did Q&As at the main campus of Enterprise. It really did create a unity there as far as personalities and getting to know each other, I thought.
Absolutely. Honestly, I felt like we got a lot closer to each other because of it. And you know, the relationships are better. You pull more for guys to win. And then we got to have those experiences. You remember when we went to Boeing? We went to Boeing and flew the flight simulators and saw
That's
the
right.
F-18s.
In St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah, I still got a picture of it actually. Me, you, and Brian Canner standing next to a F-18 or 16, whatever they were.
I have that picture too. And so we flew. Remember the simulator we flew was the big C-30 or somebody's gonna think I'm an idiot. But it was we got to land in the desert. It was the Afghanistan desert.
Yeah, like a combat landing.
Yeah. Scared. I can say this out loud because it's my podcast. It scared the shit out of me. Like I turned it back over because I wasn't doing good. And I thought I was going to crash. And it was so real that I was afraid to do it. Man, see, there was all kinds of stuff.
I know it. And them things now being retired and everything, I remember more and more thankful for those experiences than a lot of others, just because I'll never get to experience that again.
Yeah. C-130. Does that sound right? C-130. Anyway, it was a bomber.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I do remember the year he said, okay, here's how I'm going to get you guys cheering for each other. If an Enterprise rider wins, you all get $1,000. Remember that?
Yeah.
we just get a check the next week. It's like, come on, Laustro. Renato was one.
Yeah, that was Renato. Heck, even Stephen Shelley, I think Cody Whitney, Tater
Porter,
Matt Bohan.
I'll have to look for a picture to put on this podcast for Logan anyway. But we had a team thing back then. Of course, it was still an individual battle for world title, but I remember Brandon Bates a few months ago. He's the GM of the Oklahoma team. He said, I'm bringing in Laustro and I'm going to shake things up. He kind of told me what he thought you would bring. What do you think you bring different? Think of all those other coaches. What do you bring different than them besides that glorious beard that you're sporting right now?
Yeah, well, that's the main reason, right? That's how he's shaking things up. No, honestly, all the coaches have their own opinion. They all think they're right on how to go about this. I think a lot of our ideas are the same. But one thing I don't think has been touched on very much in the bull riding world is the mental aspect of it. You ask most guys, how much is mental? They say, well, 80, 90, 95%, pick a number. It's a big one. Mm-hmm. But when you ask them how much they work on that, it's next to nothing. And so we've been working on that, and it is difficult. It's a difficult thing to do, but I know that was hugely beneficial for my career. I felt like that's what pushed me over the top, and was able to win a world title, was that getting inside my head and getting my mind to work like I wanted it to. And for a year at least, I felt like I had it perfected. I kind of screwed up later on due to other factors, but I feel like that's what I'm bringing to the table, just my experience with that side of training in the bull riding world. And also I don't make things too complicated. When it comes to riding bulls, it's simple. There's a few moves that ride all the bulls, and we try to keep it simple. There's no reason to complicate this sport. It's already tough enough as it is for these guys to do their job.
When you say you had it, the mental part of it, did you go outside? Did you go to someone else? Did you read things and take care of it yourself? Or did you actually face-to-face have a sports psychologist type person in your life?
I actually did have a sports psychologist. As far as I know, I was the first to get one in the PBR at least. And beyond that, just reading lots of different articles about different sports and sports psychology involved in those sports. And it was like a multi-year effort to sort through all that information, figure out what works and what didn't, and kind of create a program that works for riding bulls. And I believe in it 100% now. It's simple and it works great. Hopefully we'll get to see the results of that here pretty soon with some of these guys.
Don't you think there's pushback in our industry here, in our world? I mean, I think maybe I'm going too deep here, but our world also consists of ranchers and farmers. And, the cases of emotional issues, suicide, depression, things like that in the farming and ranching, the ag world, is really, really high.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think in our world of men and cowboys and ranchers, that there's pushback and people are afraid to get help in that, but that it ties into the mental aspect of bull riding. Don't you think there's a pushback there in our world?
Oh, I 100% agree. There's almost like a stigma against it, like, oh, just get tough. If you're having issues in your head, you just got to get tough. And that's not the case. It's just like a muscle, right? If we're not working out our muscles right, they shrink and get weak, and our minds are the same way. But especially when you look at the concussions and stuff that have gone on in the bull riding world, and then suicides that have come later on, man, we got to get that figured out. We got to get that figured out and not be afraid to talk about it and figure out how to fix it. It's not a something to be ashamed of. It's just a problem we need to fix. What can we do to fix that problem? So hopefully we're working towards that goal more and more every day.
You said the exact same thing. I quote Ty Murray all the time when he has told me there's really not that much to it. It's pretty damn easy. However, but he says the same thing. There's not that many fundamentals to bull riding. You just have to use them at the right times and have the mental aspect to do it correctly. If people don't, but I think that's an interesting statement you make. Guys always say, hey, 80%, 90% of it's mental. Well, you getting help with that? Well, no. I mean, what it's, I don't know if you can generalize here, but when you look at someone, is there a common thing they're not doing mentally that you see all the time that you could pinpoint? I know that's a pretty general question, but do you see something that comes up a lot?
Well, mainly it's people have, so you look at, say, like a Jess Lockwood, Chase Outlaw, those type of guys naturally bring in the attitude of, you can't beat me and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. Whereas most of the time, what I see is guys underestimating their own ability. They're capable of more than they think they are, but they don't realize that. And so kind of opening their eyes to what they're actually capable of and what they can really do seems to be the biggest thing that we come across. It's just not realizing what we're capable of. But then when you get a guy like Chase or Jess or Derek or Eli, basically all the guys on my team that have been top level guys, their attitude is so fun to work with because it's different. It's a killer mindset that not everybody naturally has, but they do.
I think one of my favorite guys ever on tour is Derek Kolbaba. I mean, he's just funny. You know why? He reminds me of Michael Gaffney a little bit, and for a strange reason. The reason is he's the nicest guy in the world, and the fans, he smiles, and he can float the F word like just smooth. Remember Gaffney? Gaffney was famous for that. I shouldn't reveal that, but I think I have any. That's Kolbaba. But on the other hand, I think Derek Kolbaba, as far as great bull riders that I've seen, is the streakiest bull rider I've ever seen. I've seen him buck off 19 bulls in a row. Why is that? Just that when he bucks off a couple, that uncertainty creeping in, or what's he battling there when that happens?
It can sure be that, it's bull riding guys look at it as your confidence is based on what you've done lately. So they figure, oh, I've rode a few in a row. I'm riding good. So I'm confident, or I bucked off a few in a row. Well, crap, can I still do it? I can't really tell you exactly why Kolbaba what has been streaky. Right. But I know that even when he was streaky, he'd have like a stupid amount of 7-second bull rides. So it wasn't a mechanical issue. It wasn't something he was doing wrong in his skills. It was basically just that motivation. Especially you see guys that have been around forever, and I've been guilty of it as well, where you kind of get complacent, you get comfortable, you think, oh, this is just what I do. When you quit craving it, the results are going to go down. And we've seen that with a lot of long careers. At some point or another, guys get complacent, and if they don't get motivated again, that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah. There's been guys that I've always said the greatest 7.4 second bull rider I've ever seen.
You hate to be that guy. You want to be the world champion. 7-second guy.
I'm hearing a lot of coaches on the background. We have being down there on TV, and I wear earpiece, so I hear it, and they've put microphones on a lot of coaches, and there's 2 or 3 now I hear, ride him for 10 seconds, ride him for 10 seconds.
Oh, 100%.
It seems like an easy thing to say, but that to me as a track coach, you don't quit at the finish line.
Yep,
you run 10 meters past the finish line. Same thing. And that's a very small thing that can have good return on the investment there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, you don't run to the finish line, you run through it. And that's same, actually exact analogy as I've told these guys, like the whistle is our finish line. You're not running to it. You get past it and you go as hard as you can past it. And then you're done.
Yeah.
I think it applies in a lot of sports, right? Like you have to go past the goal in order to be successful.
Yeah. Jess Lockwood, I've told people for years that they've worried about Jess Lockwood, whatever, whether it's health, but I've told them he was a state champion wrestler in Montana. And I've always said, if it comes down to 2 guys, because I'm a sports guy and I was an athlete in other sports, I tend to give the edge to guys that were in other sports, that were good in other sports. Do you see, when you work with guys, do you see a difference in guys that have dealt with either wrestling, football? Is there an edge there because they know how to train and win? What do you say? See,
I think there's an edge mainly because they're more so aware of their body position. If all you know is one thing, if it limits you, I guess, a little bit is what is my thoughts on it. But if I know how to play football and baseball and wrestle, well, now I just have my body knows how to do more things. It's more capable of moving different ways, and it's beneficial. You know, the interesting thing is, so Nashville's got a practice rider named Dustin Ortiz, the MMA fighter.
I've seen him.
Yeah.
I didn't. That's who he is. I saw him with a shirt that said Ortiz, and he's got a beard.
Yep.
Dang it, I couldn't fit. Okay, yeah.
So he's got the record for like the fastest knockout in the, I don't know if it was the UFC or what fighting organization he was with at the time. It was stupid fast. You can look it up on YouTube. But anyhow, he came to one of the Western Sports Foundation trainings that we did down there in Pueblo at the PBR Sports Performance Center. Had never been on a bull, a barrel, or nothing. And you could take that guy and I could show him something on the barrel and he would do it better than guys that have been riding bulls for 5 years. Just because from his background in MMA and being an athlete, he could replicate what he saw. And so if you give that guy enough time, he'll ride bulls really, really well. But he's starting late. He's a little older. He's still fighting. So we'll see what becomes of it. But it's kind of an interesting thing to watch him because he does have a lot of natural ability to do what you show him to do.
You know, there was discussions, and I've always said, I think it would be interesting to bring pick a guy that's kind of that ultimate size, maybe 5'6", 140, whatever, 5'7", 150, whatever.
Yeah.
A gymnast from China or something. Start from scratch, no bad habits, and see just as an experiment. And that Dustin Ortiz kind of that experiment, isn't he?
Yeah. I wish he was like 18 instead of 30, whatever he is. But it's I've thought the same thing. You've seen the Cirque du Soleil shows in Vegas, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Think about if you took one of them little spider monkeys and taught them how to ride bulls. I mean, it might put all of us out of business. We'd be just the Cirque du Soleil PBR show.
Well, we've talked about different guys. You know, everybody thinks, I don't know that people in cities think, because they always think you just wander into bull riding, but it would be fun to see those people. But a guy like Sean Willingham was in the PBR forever. He didn't come from a ranching background. He was a basketball player, wakeboarder, so he had that balance, core strength. We have had guys like that started a little later.
Yeah, they exist. We just need to convince them to do something really dangerous. That's the hard part.
We need to convince them to hang around a bunch of cowboys and do a lot of stupid stuff, and they'll be in, man.
What are you talking about? Cowboys don't ever do anything
dumb. There's
never.
No. Hey, so we leave the other day. We leave Anaheim, California. I'm in Orange County. I don't know if you saw. We were on the same flight. Yeah. But I look back and in the line, Luke Snyder, who's one of the coaches for the Missouri team, is in line. He's got his hat kind of tipped back, sunglasses on, standing in line. I'm like, wow, it's like 2007 again. Luke, that's funny. Anyway.
Yeah, I've enjoyed having everybody around. It's like the band got back together. All the guys that I used to compete against. Now we're still competing against each other, just in a different way. And I've really enjoyed it. I think them guys have too, especially have Gaffney back and stuff. Like,
yeah,
how could you not like Gaffney?
I know. Yeah, impossible. You know what it's shown me is how many of you old bull riders needed a job. I mean,
that's no kidding. That's no kidding right there. Still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
It's you just said the exact same thing I was thinking. I mean, I'm on the back of the chutes interviewing Michael Gaffney. You and Cord are on the other side. JW Hart, Ross Coleman. And I mean, it's old times, because people should know that whole celebration that football players are still doing, where they run to each other and just jump and bump in the air. We were doing that before. I mean, we weren't chest bumping the old way. We were the originals on
That's
that.
right.
I think I'm going to take
the
OG. Do you? I usually, my memory on that kind of stuff is really good. Do you remember how that started? What was the story there?
I don't really. I think it was kind of the Team Enterprise era.
Yeah.
And I was running out there, and maybe you shoulder checked me or something, and that's what it turned into. I kind of remember it just happening by accident somehow.
Yeah. I could jump high then. I look at pictures of it now.
Yeah.
I have some pictures. That was my goal was to never let you jump higher than me. I don't know if you know that. So,
well, you did pretty damn good at it, because I don't think I ever got higher than you.
So I was looking at some stuff before we did that this morning as we record this, because you had some battles with the Bull Troubadour, your world title year. And I think it was Fresno. You were like 94.5 points on Troubadour. And I ran up and jumped and you just stepped to the side and I flew by like smartass. Like, come on, man.
Oh yeah. You got to change it up, keep you guessing, especially when you're jumping over my head every time. Sometimes I just didn't have the energy in me to try.
It seemed like, what do you ride right now? How old are you? You're not even 40, right?
No, I'll be 37 here in a couple of weeks.
You retired relatively early. We all felt like you were still visibly healthy. But were you healthy? I've never really talked to you about it. Was there concussion issues? Tell me about that decision to move on.
Yeah. So I guess in bull rider terms, I was relatively healthy. I had surgeries about every year for quite a few years before I retired, but I didn't retire because I really wanted to. I don't know. I may have not ever told you about the tumor I had in my neck that really messed me up. And so let's see, the last PBR finals I rode in was 2014. And early in January 2015, I started getting these terrible migraines, kind of playing with my head. We didn't really know what was going on. Shortly after that, my balance, eyesight, and speech all fell apart like instantly one day. And took 2 years. Well, at first they thought I had a stroke. So we went and did all these tests, or, did a test. They decided it wasn't a stroke. So then they thought it was concussion related. So they're doing all this other concussion stuff. And I didn't think it was that. Well, this whole time, my balance is so messed up, I couldn't even drive a car. My vision was so jacked up, I couldn't see more than 15 feet in front of me. And then I was slurring my speech. So to look at me, you'd think I was drunk all the time. And it stayed that way for a couple of years. And they finally ended up finding a tumor in my neck that was wrapped around my carotid artery. And that's what was screwing me up. So they took that out, and it did improve. Like, a lot of things are great now, but my vision still isn't quite normal. It's really good, but it's not quite what it was. Anyhow, I came back and rode some bulls after that, but I just couldn't keep my body together. I'd get on 2 bulls and have to go get surgery on something. And I just decided that was it. But I feel like if my vision would work like I wanted, like I would like it to, I'd still be able to ride. But it's just, it's just not quite as clear as it used to be. And I can't see things as well. And I was getting myself in trouble on the back of bulls. So
I remember hearing about the process of something was wrong. Then you tried to come back, but health didn't allow it. But never heard the whole story. You know, everybody's got whatever happens in this world, in our world especially, everybody's got a different story. Also, you know, the sad part about that is I did hear about things, and we don't know what's wrong with Lostro. The sad thing that I need to be better at is, like, I should have called you. But as I have kept working and guys have retired, I lose track of people that were sincerely my friends. And everybody goes their own way. I think that's a hard part of this business. Honestly, I feel like you and I and Michael Gaffney and Tater Porter, we're close with all our stuff. And when people go, I'm going to keep going. You do your thing. That's hard to me.
Yeah. I don't like it either. It's just like, it's life, you know, life just gets people that way. You split ways, you're both doing life, you kind of lose track. And if you put in the time to call everybody you wanted to, that may be all you ever did every day, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're still around and still being able to do this, especially now with the team deals, bringing everybody back together. So it's fun to have guys back.
So that tumor you had, there was no indication that was a residual effect of anything in bull riding. It was a naturally occurring, or do you know?
Yeah. So it was benign, which was good. So it wasn't cancerous, but they only see it at higher altitudes. The doctor told me it's not a rare tumor, but it's not terribly common. And they only see it like west of the Mississippi, but they have no idea why. It's called a carotid body tumor. And yeah, I don't know, just a weird deal. And I don't think it's back anyway. I haven't been checked out since then, but I feel good.
You seem to be able to see me okay this past weekend.
Kind of. It's just your shape, you know. It's good though, because if I can't see your face, I'm not disgusted, and it's just better for all of us.
Just better for everybody.
Yeah.
Do you ever, I know this probably doesn't matter to you at all, knowing you like I have. Do you ever feel like when we talk world champions and greats of all time in the PBR, the one thing you never had an ego, maybe you did hidden in there. You were never flashy, except you and me with our big bumping celebration. You ever feel like you get lost in the list of great bull riders of all time in the PBR just because you weren't as flashy, or do you care?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I suppose, yeah, probably my name doesn't get brought up as much as it could, but it doesn't bother me any. Like, there's a lot of great bull riders that never won a world title that probably rode better than several of us world champions, and they don't get mentioned at all. But yeah, I was just never my thing, right? You knew me. I was there to do my job and do it well and fly under the radar. And I never liked all the lights and stuff a whole lot anyway. So if I could stay away from them, that was fine with me. I probably should have done a better job with that stuff as a world champion, but yeah, it's what it is. It's in the past now.
It's funny because you've always been good media. Like Logan's sitting here helping me. I was very comfortable asking you to do this and knew it would be rewarding and fun because you've always been good with media. And to me, that's a huge thing. You're working with Cord Mccoy right now. I call Cord Mccoy the most popular and famous mediocre bull rider we've ever had in the PBR.
I know. And he hates it. He always told me when he was on the Amazing Race and we'd go travel and people would come up for his autograph. They always wanted it because they knew him from the Amazing Race. And he told me, one day I just want to be recognized as the bull rider and not a racer.
What, you learned anything about Cord Mccoy that didn't? I mean, that guy is thankful for life because, he went through being in a coma, kicked in the head. And he always says, every day's a reward to me. I should be dead. But every once in a while, everybody has a crappy day. That guy just doesn't seem to, or doesn't let you know that.
Yeah. I don't think he does have bad days. I think a bad day to him is just a choice he makes. That's it. That's it.
You guys are you complement each other as far as that team goes. Cause you ever seen Cord talk to me? He just goes, yip, yip, whoop, whoop. He doesn't even say anything. And he's there smiling, and you bring a little deeper thing. Are you finding you guys that complement each other pretty well there?
I think so. Me and Cord work together great. And part of it goes back to the Enterprise. He was a team Enterprise guy too.
That's right.
So we've been teammates before. We've traveled together, roomed together. It's not like I'm joining forces with somebody I know nothing about. Like, me and Cord know exactly how to work together. So it's a good combination. You know, he is lighthearted and always happy, and maybe I'm the dick in the in the coaching.
Good cop, bad cop. It's good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop.
When I'll backtrack a little because I wanted to bring this up. We were scheduled to do this. You asked for an extra hour, which means nothing when people are watching this. I'm leading to some. Hey, can we do it a little later? I got to go get one of our guys from the airport, and I'm bringing him to our place. A guy on your team. Who did you bring to your place for the week?
Yeah, so I went and picked up Briggs Madsen this week to come here and train at my house. Like, he's staying here. We're working out here. We're riding, or we're doing everything here. So Briggs was kind of a surprise draft pick when we picked him in the draft for the PBR teams, because, you know, he hadn't been on tour. He's relatively young, and experience wise, just didn't have a lot of experience, but we'd seen him ride and talk to him, and man, he's top notch dude, just salt of the earth. He's got a ton of potential, rides really good, but these first 3 events in the team deal have been kind of rough for him. You know, hadn't been riding like he can. So when the last night at Kansas City, I said, Briggs, what are you doing this week? He said, just working, because he helps his dad with his concrete company.
Sure. Doug. His dad's name is Doug. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyhow, so said, well, why don't you come to Colorado and we'll get you riding good for before Nashville. And I expect this week is going to change the season around for him.
So what's a day for him? When he comes to Kody Lostro's place, when he comes to Kody Lostro Boot Camp Inc., what does a day consist of? And are you working more physical or up here on Briggs?
Yeah, so we're going to work physical and mental, and just all around mindset, being immersed in the job that he's here to do, ride bulls. So anyhow, I picked him up this morning. We've been in the gym this morning, working on the mechanics of his riding. I saw a couple things that we needed to fix. So we're fixing that. And right now, as we're doing this podcast, he's out there working out. And when we're through here, we're going to go get some hay and come back and ride some horses and do some more stuff there. All this physical stuff we're doing, the whole time we're doing it, I'm talking the mental game too, right? Like our mindset, our perspective, how we're looking at things and how we're going about them. And, I've done the same thing with some other guys. And by the time they leave, their world is drastically different on the way they view things and how they're about to go do their job.
If I come there, can you make me funnier and younger or no?
No, man, I haven't got into that line of work yet.
Well, Brandon Bates,
can do Botox, though. I can inject you.
Oh, you can? Well, thanks. Do you do both? You suppose.
I suppose I can give a cow a shot. I can give anybody a shot, right? Hey, if I can't, my vet surely can, because I use my vet more than my doctor to work on me. So I'm sure
that's usually how it is.
No, for real. You'd be surprised how many bull riders like, I need to go to the doctor and get this done. No, I'll just go to my vet. He'll do it way cheaper. And yeah, it happens a lot.
Revealing the secret life of cowboys across the world. I know. When Brandon decided on Briggs Madsen, he said he reminds me so much of Jess Lockwood in his mechanics, built exactly the same. I mean, frame wise, it's all there. a lot of people don't know there was a chance he wasn't going to walk again. Wasn't high school. It was a saddle bronc riding accident, wasn't it? With Briggs, and broke his back. He's come through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that he's walking is huge. And the fact that he's riding bulls again is halfway mind blowing. Cause yeah, it should have ended his whole course in life right there. But it says a lot for his work ethic too, because it wasn't easy to come back from that. He just crushed his lower spine pretty much.
Yeah. I've known that kid since he was this big.
Oh, no kidding.
Junior high rodeo with my girls. He's kind of in my between age of, he's about Shelby's age, my oldest daughter. So that whole family, for one, it doesn't hurt that he comes from one of the greatest families. They're so nice, and brother, sister, I think. I mean, there's a lot of them. He's from Utah. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you set out in the PBR, when you said, I want to be a world champion, to be a world champion, I need to do this. Was there a certain thing? I guess I'll let you answer the question, but when I look at you, I think your whole thing was just steadiness, level, consistent. What did you set out to do to win a world title?
Yeah. So winning a world title, I feel like is a little different journey for everybody. And I didn't know exactly how to get there. Right. I just knew if I'm consistently win more than everybody else, I'll accomplish that goal of winning a world title. And I'll tell you a short story of kind of how that came to be in real life. When what year Guilherme won the world in 2008. Mm-hmm. And so that year I was coming into the finals like second or something. I was having a great year and I had a chance to beat Guilherme. And then at the finals, I just focused on, just the wrong things, too much stuff. And I made some good rides, but didn't compete like I should have. And didn't beat Guilherme. And it wasn't that fun, to be honest with you. Like, it was just stressful. Didn't enjoy that finals. And that shouldn't be like that. Normally when a guy's having the most fun that he can have is when he's riding the best. So after the finals, I'm like, I need to break this down into a way that'll work for me. And so I was actually on an elk hunting trip with Shorty Gorham, and we were hiking up this steep mountain. And like, it sucked, right? Like, my legs are burning, my lungs are burning, it's cold, we're in snow. But I knew I had to get to the top of the mountain, and I was like, all right, I got to focus on what I can control. And the only thing I can control is just keep taking one step, another step. And that became my focus. I just got to take one more step. And that's the only goal that matters. Getting to the top doesn't matter. It's just this one step right now. And I got to the top, and I don't know, it was almost like it just hit me. I was like, golly, like, I can apply this mindset, this short goal mindset, to riding bulls. So I went and broke it down. All right, to win a world title, I've got to win events, right? And to win events, I've got to get high scores. And to get high scores, I've got to ride my bulls. And to ride my bulls, I've literally got to do it one jump at a time. And everybody's been told that, bull riders, since they were little, it's just one jump at a time. It's one jump at a time. But that's when it actually became real for me. Like, if I become obsessed with just the jump that's in front of me and the bull that's in front of me, and do that my very best every time, I will get to my ultimate goal. But if I focus on that ultimate goal all year long, I can't focus 100% on this little short-term goal that's right in front of my face. I can just reach out there and grab it time and time again and make it to the top. And so, yeah, an elk hunting trip in New Mexico with Shorty is literally what showed me the mindset that I needed to take forward to win a world title. And it was a game changer for sure.
Yeah, that is it. But that happens a lot, where it's something else in life that makes you go. A couple questions. Number one, did Shorty talk the entire hike up that mountain or no?
No, I think he was out of air just as much as me. It was pretty silent.
He was worse than you because you're used to elevation a little bit. So, and number two, did you get an elk?
Yeah. Me and Shorty both got elk there.
There you go.
And Shorty will never let it die. I've forgot about it a couple times now, but have you ever heard of short sheeting somebody,
Yes. Yeah.
where you pull the sheets up.
Oh my God. You did it, huh? Damn.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really know Shorty all that great, like aside from the bull ridings at that time, but I had the opportunity. So I short sheeted his bed, and then I went to bed and I waited, I don't know how long, for him to climb in. And then I think he'd had a few whiskeys or something before he got in. So
no, you're mistaken.
So confused. He's like, what the hell is going on here? And I hear him kicking around trying to get in his bed. Anyhow, I got a good laugh out of it and then forgot about it. And every time we talked about that hunting trip, he brings that up, is that he got short sheeted.
And that just reminded me that I completely forgot about you. You were the worst practical joker. I'm not a practical joker. I don't do it. I don't want, you and Dustin Elliott, you were terrible practical joker, weren't you? Constant.
No, you, I think you're saying the wrong word. You mean best. The best.
Oh, the best. You're the best practical joker. Who did you get? Who was your victim the most? Or did you go back and forth with someone?
No, well, me and the guys I traveled with, me and Dustin Elliott always give it to each other. Josh Koshel, I would always play jokes on him. Jordan Hupp, Cord, Wiley, Peterson, Corey Navarro. There's been a plethora of guys. We've got Wiley good. We convinced him that there was a wolf wearing a jacket in Idaho one time. Like, he legit thought this wolf somehow got a coat on him.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Did you see him? Did you see the wolf?
The wolf was me. I was wearing like a Burger King plastic wolf mask on, and it was cold, so I had my coat on, but it was dark, and he was shining a light on me, and he thought a wolf was running around with somebody's coat on his back. But anyhow, yeah, the practical jokes, we could have a whole episode about the jokes. You heard about the Sasquatch suit when I put on the Sasquatch suit and scared them guys, and then they shot at me.
Oh, they shot at you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Todd Pierce shot at me.
So where was that?
In Idaho as well. It might have been that same trip, maybe the year after.
Just happened to have a Bigfoot suit with you, or
no? So you remember the PBR when we went up to Alaska, to Anchorage and Fairbanks?
Yeah, I didn't go, but I remember. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So there was a costume shop up there in Anchorage, and they had a certified Chewbacca costume from Star Wars. I don't know how you certify a Chewbacca costume suit, but that's how they were selling it. And so anyway, my wife hated me for it, but I spent $400 on this Chewbacca costume because I thought I could have a lot of fun with it. And up there, I don't remember if we did anything up there with it, but then I took it to Idaho and came up with this elaborate plan where I had some guys in on the plot, and we went way back, rode horses for 8 hours back into the mountains, and we're camping for a few days. There was a lot of wolves back there. And so I was going to go to bed early, and then a group of guys was going to go out looking for wolves at night. And the plan was, when they went out, I was going to put on that Chewbacca costume, get out in front of them, and we'd make this big joke. So I go to bed, they take off, I get out ahead of them, and I'm in my pre-positioned spot, and I see the lights coming down the trail. It's dark, it's nighttime. So I kind of get their attention. I'm up on the hill doing Bigfoot, Sasquatch type things. And
because you know what those things are.
Oh yeah. I've watched it. Bigfoot Hunter. They never find him, but they know what he does. Right. So anyway, I'm doing my Bigfoot things, and they finally see me, and they're trying to figure out what it is. I can hear them talking. They're like, "It's a moose. No, it's a bear." And then somebody says, "It's a homeless guy," I think. And anyhow, I'm just getting a kick out of it. Right. All of a sudden, a bullet cracks by, and if you've ever had a bullet crack by it, you don't hear the boom of the gun. You hear the sound of the bullet, breaking through the air as it goes by. And I knew exactly what it was. And then boom, here come another one. So I stood up and just took off running over the side of the ridge. And I got to set this up for you. So I'm in a hairy suit. I mean, a lot of long hair. And as I'm running, this hair is falling over my eyes and my face, and I can't see. It's dark. I have no flashlight. So I'm just running wide open down a mountain, off of rocks, into trees, just to try not to get shot. I get down to the river, run back to the cabin, take off my suit, and I made it. They didn't kill me. Well, here, not 15 minutes later, Travis Briscoe comes busting into the cabin. He said, "Cody, you got to get out here. Bring your rifle. There's some creature. We don't know what it is." And he's freaking out. I told him, "Leave me alone." So he leaves the cabin. I put the suit back on and go out the other side. And as he's coming around the corner, I jump out of a bush and tackle him. He pulls out a knife, a big one, and he's backing up like as fast as he can go. And I couldn't help it. I'm laughing my ass off at that point. And I took off the mask and I'm laughing. And he says, "Cody, I could have killed you with this thing." I said, "Well, the last thing I'm worried about is you killing me running backwards with your knife."
But they could have shot you, man.
Yeah. So as it turns out, the guy that was shooting at me knew it was me. He was in on the joke. But
what?
He thought if he shot, he was missing me on purpose. He thought if he shot at me, it would make it more realistic, but missed. So anyhow, that was not a good choice on him. But to top it off, there was a guy we didn't know just happened to be in on the trip, and he's from that area, and his whole life he's believed that Bigfoot is in those mountains. His whole life they're looking for him. He said when I stood up on two legs and took off running, and the way the light shone off of my fur and everything, he said his heart just stopped and he knew that was it. And he was trying to wrestle the gun away from the guy that knew it was me, but missing on purpose. Is a stupid thing, but it turned into a great story. I'm glad I didn't get killed.
The greatest practical joke almost gone wrong in the history of the world.
Right
there.
But
Todd Pierce. See, I didn't know that part. I guess maybe I missed that part. I remember, missing you on purpose. No, knowing Todd Pierce trying to miss you, he probably would have hit you.
Yeah. He may have been shooting at me, and that was just his excuse. He said he was trying to miss. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, the practical never ended. I got 20 years of them, and there's still plenty going on.
Yeah, that's funny that one little mention of short-sheeting Shorty Gorham's bed and reminded me, that's right. He's the best / worst practical joker of all time. Because I hate practical jokes. People can't believe that with the job I do, that I hate practical jokes.
Yeah.
Because it's you never can win. You never get ahead. It's always going to get you. You're always looking over your shoulder. I don't need that in my life, Cody.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll keep them away from you. That way you don't get angry.
You do them and just relay it to me.
Okay. You got
it. You were talking about world final stuff. So I went back to look. So you were the world champion 2009. Do you know 2, 3, 4, and 5 that year?
2 was JB. 3 was Guilherme. 4.
This was the one
Valderon.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that one.
All right.
Remember 5?
And 5, Austin Meyer.
5 is the greatest bull rider to never win a world title in the PBR.
Robson Palermo. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. And looking back now, am I right in saying you in the championship round, you bucked off your bull at 7.5 seconds to ride every bull and also win the world finals title? All right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Voodoo Child pulled the rope out of my hand right at the whistle. And didn't get that last score, unfortunately.
Yeah. So JB Mooney won the world finals. If I remember right too, I'm trying to relive. We didn't know. So JB comes back, wins what we call the average, wins the aggregate, the world finals title. Yeah. You bucked off at 7.5 seconds. I don't think we knew you won the world title. Did you know? No, I didn't. And I guess on TV, they already knew and had announced it, but in arena, they hadn't yet. And Clint Atkins actually asked me this just yesterday or Saturday night, that same question. He said, "Did you know before you got on that you'd won it?" And I said, no, I didn't. So the first time I heard it for real, when it became real life, is when Clint announced it in arena. That was JB Mooney was just a few points behind you to win his first title and then win 3 or whatever. So you spoiled it for JB. Nice work.
Yeah. Well, there's so many of those. in 2006, if I would have rode my short round bull at the world finals, all I had to do was ride him to win the finals. Guilherme wins the world that year instead of Adriano.
So the process of you doing something to take Adriano out would have jumped Guilherme. There's so many of those.
Oh,
There's a lot of those where it's not the direct result of you outrode him. It's you took somebody else out of the running. That's not funny because
those biscuit stealers will get you.
Because 07 you were sixth. You didn't really come out of nowhere in 09. Like, you decided, you went on the elk hunting trip. That's what you did.
Yeah.
You were sixth in 07 and fourth in 08. So you were getting up the mountain. You were almost there. So
the riding was going the right direction, but seems like there's always that something that just kind of gets a guy over the hump. I mean, you look at Guilherme, he won second for 3 years in a row before he finally won one.
And you kind of forget how much Valderon was up there. And it's fun. It's fun to look back at the top 10 guys in the world. I've discovered when there's people, Robson was always there. He had such shoulder issues, won the world finals 3 times. Matt Bohan was top 10 guy. Ryan McConnell was a top 10 guy. Austin Meyer, we knew that. There's some guys that we forget how good they were. I had Paulo Crimber on here not long ago, and we forget how good that guy was. He was so good.
Yeah. Paulo was, he was an animal. And he worked really hard at it too. He wasn't just a natural, but that's what I think is so interesting about bull riding in general, right? Like it's a what have you done for me lately type of sport. Like people forget pretty quick what happened in the past.
Jerome Robinson used to tell us about forgetting about you. Like those of us who work there, like he'd say, do you think you're irreplaceable? Like, well, no, not really. He said, I'll tell you how long it takes people to forget about you. Stick your finger in a glass of water. Pull your finger out. The amount of times it takes for the water to fill in that hole, that's how long it takes for him to forget about it. But then he always said this, but the one thing people forget though, about you doing that job, when you pull your finger out, the level of the water goes down. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah. Jerome was a wise man. He was like a grandpa figure to a lot of people.
Yeah. He and everybody you talk to in our business, he had some effect.
Oh yeah.
Some influence or effect on somebody's career in that roundabout way. Like we talked anyway.
Yeah. He was a good dude, but I would have to disagree with him. And I've said it forever. When the day you step away entirely from the PBR, I don't know who can fill those shoes. Not to make your head any bigger, but just saying, like, if there's one guy that's irreplaceable, you're probably as close as it gets.
Well, I'm going to come live with you and you're going to make me younger and funnier. So,
okay. Well, I'll get to work on it.
Okay. Are you raising bulls still? Do you have some bucking bulls or?
Yeah. I've been raising them forever. And mainly I sell calves. I've raised several that went to the PBR finals, but anymore, I'm just kind of selling those calves as weanlings. And actually Cord Mccoy buys a lot of them. Oh. And I like the breeding program side of things versus hauling a bunch of big bulls around, and them big bulls are aggravating.
Yeah. You're doing it the right way. You're doing it the right way. How old are your girls now?
My girls are 8 and 10. Oof. Yeah. Fast. They've gotten to be that age.
Yeah. You said before we started, they're starting as we record this, it's their first day. You've been homeschooling. They're in a good program. What do they like? Okay. School's one thing. And I know you and your wife probably have them nose to the grindstone. What else do they do? Are they cowgirls? Are they sports? What do they do?
Yeah, so they're big time rodeo girls right now. We were into the Brazilian jiu-jitsu for quite a while. They were doing that, and my oldest was actually pretty darn good at it. Like she won some tournaments and stuff. And then now it's all rodeo all the time. Oh, they're just obsessed with it. So here we go. I know you know what it's all about. Yeah,
I do. Mine are 23, 21 now, and they'll be there soon. So, well, be sure and tell everybody hello. And it is, I can honestly say, you don't say much. You kind of hang back. You and I talk a little, but You're right. I feel like that band, we're kind of having a reunion a little bit. I like it. I like to see everybody, like to listen to everybody. It's been fun. And I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate what you're bringing to bull riding and the awareness that it's a very valuable thing in the mind deal. So,
yeah, well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you having me on here. And it's good to be back around all my friends.
always. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
We'll see you.